The modern time calls for character building in our children under layers of moral values. The answer is obvious, like an open book. In the absence of moral values, our youths will always be out of moral discipline and can never be good citizens in their surroundings. Education is an essential process for inculcating values to enhance the learner in such a way so that they can lead a life that is gratifying to the individual in accordance with the cultivated values. To speak to us more on these lines, we have invited two prominent personalities. Dr. Surantha Perera, Consultant Pediatrician and Neonatologist of Ministry of Health of Sri Lanka and the President of the Sri Lanka Medical Association and the Vice President of the Sri Lanka College of Pediatricians, together with Dr. Sumedha Jayaweera, Principal of Sirimavo, Bandaranaike Vidyalaya, Colombo 7. Apart from being the Principal of Sirimavo, Dr. Mrs. Jayaweera is also the visiting lecturer at the University of Jayawardenepura, PIM and Gurney American University. Cordially inviting and cordially welcoming, representing most important sectors to share their valuable insights during this discussion. Moving on with our very first guest, Dr. Sumedha Jayaweera. Education is most important because it offers the opportunity to gain knowledge and skills. Moreover, the process itself and the environment it creates facilitates for younger generation to gain perspectives of looking at life, to be competent in the global workforce. Is the energy and passion of the youth utilized properly that can bring huge positive change to the society and progress to the nation in college level today?
Sabrina, it's not an easy question for me, but I'll try my best to explain the situation today. We know the formal education starts at age of 5. Then it ends 18 plus. During this 13 years of period, the students, the children face a very critical age periods. So first thing, as the principals and teachers, even the parents, authorities, we need to identify these critical periods of them. Mainly the primary education. That is the heart of education, because actually the grade 1 to 5, we need to develop mainly the ethical values, moral values, ethical education in them while doing the classroom learning teaching process in the classroom. So it is not an easy task. So they can achieve 100 marks. They can achieve trophies and certificates at competitions. The thing is the way of thinking of a girl or a boy. Mainly, how to respect their parents. How to maintain love and relationship with the parents. And how to respect other people. How to greet other people when they meet. How to smile with them. How to communicate with them. There are so many social skills we need to improve in them while giving a text-based education. That is the main thing. Not only that, if you could maintain a practical-based environment, especially the more activities, activity-based. Teacher is not a teacher. Teacher should be a facilitator and a resource person. The teacher needs to bring students outside of the classroom. Let them to play. Let them to work together. Let them to tolerate other people and listen other people. There are so many competencies, qualities we need to build up in students during their primary education. If you could manage those things, then we can build up a very smart girl or a boy to work with other people, to tolerate at least their parents. So it is not an easy task, but we can do. Because we don't want to actually spend a lot of money for that. just a simple activities in school. The playing activities, the dancing activities, sometimes club and societies, and supporting the neighborhood. And for example, at Children's Day today, we invited the very small school close to Sirimavo, Vidyatilaka Vidyalaya, to join with us to celebrate Children's Day. So I try to guide my students how to support other people, how to make other people happy. We need to learn to make other people happy. Actually, we call that kind of education the holistic education. If you could promote holistic education in school, especially in the primary, we can win this situation.
Findings reveal that higher levels of perceived teacher empathy correlate with reduced stress, anxiety, and depression while enhancing student engagement in learning activities. How should this necessity of fostering empathetic relationship with educational contexts to promote student resilience and well-being be included in your views?
Actually, firstly, we need to have the wonderful teachers. Teachers, actually, it's a key element in a school, and the principal. So if our teachers and the principal, if we can identify the drastic diversity in a school, the drastic diversity in a classroom, that is the point. So we know we are teaching our students, but multiple intelligences in the classroom and different kind of learners. Some students love to listen, but very few number. Sometimes 20%. But the majority, they love to do and learn. They love to listen and not listen and learn. They love to watch and learn. So visual learners are tactile learners. We miss them. So they are trying to go out of the classroom because of that. If teachers could understand the student diversity in a classroom, we don't spend much money for that. We can bring students outside of the classroom. For example, if you need to, actually the lesson about the environment, they can bring the students to the real environment. So we need to give actually authentic experience for them. And, the teacher, sometimes a mother, sometimes a friend, very close friend. Students, actually, we want to maintain some kind of power distance, but we need to give love, attention, fair, justice. If students can actually believe the teacher, they will say everything to her or him. So that is the problem today. So my feeling is we need to maintain continuous professional development for teachers. Sorry to say, still we do not maintain continuous professional development for teachers in the government sector. So if you could promote that, we can build up a better education in schools. So the private sector blame us. The job market, jobs are available, but the school leavers, university leavers, they say, they blame us. We can't train them, cannot be employable because lack of communicative skills. We have been teaching English for 10, 12 years. But the day they leave the school, difficult to manage at least 2-3 lines in English. So we want to think about that. Because why we are promoting English as a link language in schools? Why? We know widely spoken language over the world is English. Therefore, they need to communicate with the rest of the world.
Different generations of students have enrolled and graduated from higher education institutions for many decades. Throughout these decades, educators have been using the same strategies despite what generation is present in their classroom. How should this adaptation of rethinking and learning strategies be rethought of?
Definitely. So for that, we need wonderful teachers. So we have teachers, but we need to build up the capacity of the teachers and the principals as well. You know, I completed my PhD very recently in 2022. Fortunately, I had a time to complete it because the COVID situation, the schools are closed. So my title is Professional Development of Sri Lanka Education Administrative Officers, a Sociological Analysis. Actually, it's an auto-ethnographic approach. I research about professionalism in us because we are the one who make this role. So the findings, we want to rethink. So we want to change the way of delivering. And we want to understand our child. It's not like in our period. Nowadays, as you said, they have all the comforts at home sometimes. All the comforts at school sometimes. Parents facilitate them not in our period. They drop their child at school gate. But we need to think about, we need to give more freedom for them. We need to give more freedom to read not only the textbooks, the other readings. We need to guide them. And not only that, at least not achieving 100 marks, not achieving degrees. They need to do more activities with actually in the society. Sometimes it may be sports, sometimes club and society. The parents, sometimes they believe only the marks. So that is one of the problems. I kindly request our parents, think about your child actually definitely incredible talents in. Although he or she not achieving 100 marks. So we want to think about that. So students need, the children needs love, attention, acceptance, and they love to maintain their dignity as well, even at school. We want to respect them. We want to listen them. So, if you could manage such environment at school, while understanding the diverse children in school, we could do better.
The young minds are considered as the most productive members of the society due to their physical and intellectual capability. But in real-life scenario, most of them are unable to utilize their potential in an appropriate way due to lack of guidance and motivation. What could be the reason for this?
Yeah, I think a very timely question. When we talk about young Sri Lankan population below 18 years, we have 6.2 million. That is represent 22% of our population. Here we have a sort of another burden. In 2040, our age population would be more than 60 years. So the young people or the youth is very important for our country. So by definition, being a pediatrician, below 18 years considered as children. And Sri Lanka, the pediatricians, child specialists looked after children up to 14 years. Here we want to propose something called transitional care. Again, identifying problems faced by the children, this transition from young to older, how they transit. Because we look after them very kindly. The way we talk to them is different. When they become adults, they are being treated differently even in the healthcare setting. So in other countries, the physician who treat adults and the child specialist who treat younger ones, they sit together and they treat children together, and then children have the chance to adapt and change accordingly. So this is very important. So health sector I was talking about, and then your question is about they are being the most productive members, and physical intellectual capability they are really good, and lack of guidance and motivation is a problem for them. I agree, because young people, they have possess lot of tremendous energy and creativity and intellectual potential, but several factors prevent them from realizing this in full. First, the transition from adolescence to adulthood often comes without structured guidance. Many do not have adequate mentors. When we talk about our cultural values, how the societal norms, everything changes, evolve around family. When they become adolescents, there are changes in the mind, there are changes in the body, and the peer pressure, and they try to experiment things. In this context, what they have is what they have learned as young children from their surroundings and the family. Question is it adequate for them to face the more complex society which they are going to enter? And in this context, many do not have mentors and role models. Sometimes when they have a problem, they go and talk to teachers. Secondly, they are pressurized with certain examinations, because grade 5, that is 10 year, they have the 5th standard scholarship exam. When they are 15, they have ordinary level examination. When they are 18, they have the advanced level examination. Stepwise pressure builds up. For certain children, people like us, when we were children, we really loved to sit for exams because we know we excel. But there was a certain population, they did not like sitting for exams. Other side of the coin. But after 30 years, when we look back, 30, 40 years, both groups have achieved. We have become top scientists, top consultants. They have become, they excel in their field like management areas. They have become CEOs of banking, private institutes. I don't see any difference. So what that shows is, at certain point of time, their interest in studying and interacting with books will be different. So we have to understand that. So this pressure, is that right or wrong? And then our career pathways are rigid. When we do well, really well, bioscience, we can get selected as doctors and engineers and chartered accountants, because when we qualify in universities, those are the jobs available. What about other jobs? Recently, I think IT specialist, that's another dimension which was added, another job profile, and few more added. But otherwise, rest of the jobs were not given much acceptance. So they struggle. So they when they want to select a job or thinking about what is the job I am going to do, sort of a linear pathways they see, not very diversified, and so because of that they struggle. And other thing is, in today's digital world, most of the young people, children, have vast access for information, and but what we have to remember one thing, they lack life skills to make decisions. That's a different thing. We call it soft skills. Even when we train doctors, that is, we can train them in theory, the 3 pillars of education, that is knowledge, skills and attitude. But the building up of soft skills is very important. Now even in medicine it has been recognized, when you become doctors, what is more important is 70% of the skill should be soft skills. Knowledge comes to 30%. Now even if you forget something, it's at the fingertips. But talking to a person, are we really skilled? Because when a patient comes, they are distressed. So this is the thing in the health sector. But it is the same for other professionals as well, as when they encounter certain problems during their life. That is the way to handle things, developing skills in communications. So then social media gives different ideas, but critical thinking is somewhat different. You look at a problem, pros and cons, and what is right and wrong. So the children belong to different generations. Now we call it the children from alpha generation. After 2025, up to 2013, they will be beta generation. So the way they look at life and the way they try to sort out problems is vastly different. What we have to understand is, as adults also, are we equipped with enough skills to handle children? This is for the parents. So what they require is a mentorship, encouragement, and system that nurture both skills and values. This mentoring is very important. Even we see in that our profession, more senior you are not supposed to hold on to positions. You must step down, and then you must allow younger people to step into those positions. But we have a role, mentoring, and we guide and train them on further equip them with certain skills. So I think in all, lack of guidance and motivation we have to understand it's a problem. We have to accept it as a problem, and then if we do not address this issue, we will encounter more and more problems, because they sort of without a structure, without a sort of precedence, they gain skills. Time will tell those skills are adequate or those skills are more destructive for the society. So here, as learned people, as parents, we have a responsibility how we handle these children. Especially the key word I want to highlight here is mentoring, guidance, and developing soft skills.
The life experiences and perspectives of young people in the 21st century differ greatly. How should we redefine certain norms in embracing this generational diversity?
So as I talked earlier, the key elements of your question is the life experiences and perspective of young people in the 21st century differ greatly. So what about the other centuries we have passed? So what is the difference between 21st century? So the mainly is technological, how we handle things, how we look at our lives, this digital transformation, the technology we connect with the lives is, sort of a very complexly change how we behave. So it's very important to redefine the certain norms and how we develop, understand this generational diversity. Because earlier we struggled to connect with another village some centuries ago, another part of a country. Now, within seconds, we can connect with another town, another country, and globally. And now there are Zoom platforms where you can multiple people, different geopolitically connected, who belong to different cultures, can come together in a discussion, which is not a norm some time back. So instead of expecting them to conform to outdated norms, we, the society, must adapt and try to redefine what is success, what is contribution and responsibility mean. So what we have to teach them is they have a responsibility when they become youth and older children, to do something for the society. In order to that, they have to gain life skills. So that is very important. And for example, the career path today are more diverse and non-linear. And it called for more flexibility in education and employment structures. So that is very important, because when the technology comes into play, the teaching methodology also changes. The novel areas can be developed, like now a lot of talks on artificial intelligence. So that's another complexity we are going to encounter, because to which extent we are going to bring it into our lives. It's the same for children. Now, with artificial intelligence, the very skilled child who had the genetic potential, who had the correct attitude, correct skills and knowledge, compared with a non-skilled or the child who cannot perform, there won't be any difference. The reason is the non-skilled child that can use artificial intelligence. So in an exam, if we want to grade for a particular reason, we say we want to find out who are the best, and there will be, for a school we have a head prefect, we have prefects, but everybody can't become a prefect. And when we give scholarships, we can't give scholarship to everyone. We have to select. So the selection process is a norm in a society, but it had to done in an ethical way, acceptable way, by not penalizing the weaker. So in this process, we will struggle to identify who is the best, because artificial intelligence is there. If they write something, the issue is whether they have done it or the use of artificial intelligence they have done it. So even exams are now becoming challenging for this differentiation. So the traditional way of thinking won't be helpful in this. So the exam structure, how we mark, the selection process, we have to fine-tune it. We also have to adopt new technologies. Reason is counteract what the children will use. It's very important understand these things, and then they move away from traditional communities, and they try to define new communities, the cultures, digital platforms are more and more used. But we have to be careful here when we develop digital platforms. They have to be creative, positive, safe and meaningful platforms. We have to safeguard the children's rights and as well as the safety. And then not only that, in these instances, we have to teach them how to respect gender diversity, the cultural expression, and individual choices. So the understanding all these things are very important for us to develop a sort of a intergenerational dialogue where both tradition and innovation coexist, which will enrich our society. What I want to highlight here is when the children change, parallelly as adults we have to change. And the equation, if we say, look at it, it's x equal y, then the x value changes, we say x plus y and equal to p plus q. So one value changes, the other values also has to change, otherwise it won't come to equilibrium. So what I say is the environment, society and the child, when everybody changes as adults, we also have to change. We have to think differently. We have to bring new methodologies. We have to redefine norms, what is right and wrong, as well as to suit the modern things. But one thing we have to be careful in this context is also people try to learn from very highly developed countries. But what we have to understand is their cultures are different. If you take a country like Japan, one of the most developed countries. But that's the one country which has achieved development, protecting their social values, their cultural values. So that is very important. So we have to redefine what we think about the word development also, because that development, that change, the definition of norms for society which will suit children even has to suit us. So careful selection is in this process is very important.
Youth are a source of immense energy and drive. If not harnessed and molded properly, this energy not only goes waste but at times becomes destructive to society. Involvement of youth in crimes and social abuse like drug addiction, etc., are some of the consequences of this failure. What are your perspectives, Doctor, pertaining to this, where we can minimize such destructive behaviors?
Very, very important question, because all of us know youthful energy is like a powerful current. It can illuminate society if channeled or cause damage if left uncontrolled. The key lies in creating meaningful pathways for young people to express and invest their energy. First, education must go beyond academics. Why I am telling is, we have to instill values, we have to develop resilience, we have to bring emotional intelligence also. All of us know we face a pandemic, COVID-19. During that period, for the first time in the history of mankind, we practice a concept called lockdown. During the lockdown, they miss schools. People thought missing school is just not losing learning opportunities. But beyond that, the structure of behavior, because you wake up early and then get prepared, get into the school bus, you go to school, the school bells rings, there's a thing called periods. So you are seated and you are focused, and that practice is necessary. And you get a break, that is interval, and you go to the ground and play with the other kids. So this structure is very important when we want a child to be trained in such a way, because then when they are adults, they can work in an office and they interact with children. That was lost, and instead that they interacted with computers. And the difference is the emotional element, because early when a child is born, we are worried about the weight, the length, and the how the brain develops, the OSC. But when they move to the second, third years, parents should focus on social development, cognitive development, and emotional development. Those are very important elements. So schools provide a superb platform for that. They lost it during the COVID-19. What about these children when they become adults? Because when they become adults, they may not react like a normal person, even in family problems when they encounter. How they react to a partner's feeling would be different. Research are emerging about those things, and then when they become adolescents, they will face more mental problems. So we have to understand it. I'm talking about something happened few years ago, and many things would happen. So our readiness for this and developing this emotional intelligence, resilience, and certain values is very important. Second, community engagement and volunteerism. So they must learn to volunteer things, and that's one of the most important aspects, how they contribute to the well-being of the community which they live in. So they can build relationships, they will learn to handle, and they will know the values of partnership building. And another aspect is sports, arts, and innovation platforms. So that is also very important, because this develop creativeness. So the more and more people learn to type. So would there be a problem in writing? Now, when we talk, the computer will write. So is it a beginning of losing of our skills? And it would be the same for children. So which age we are going to introduce computer? Which age we are going to introduce computer equipped with artificial intelligence? At which age we should introduce mobile phones? Earlier in UK also they introduced mobile phones at a young age, grade 5 onwards. But later, now in Australia, they have banned. Children should not use mobile phones below 12 years. Why? Then only they recently only they found out many problems, because certain technology comes in without proven data research. We embrace it. So which scientific paper taught us or told us the introducing mobile phones or computers at an early age will be beneficial without any side effects? We just embrace it. This is one instance we made decision without any scientific guidance. And finally, policy and leadership. So the policy and leadership is also very important. We have to make sure the children are more and more involved, because youth, then they feel they are part of a decision-making process. They are needed. So this will keep them away from the destructive behaviors. This destructive behavior we should focus on. What happened to Nepal, the regional countries, and Bangladesh? Because youth unrest, it shows if we do not properly guide them, it can evolve into such a volcanic eruption. So the more and more we have to focus on it. In Sri Lanka also, one of the worries we have is they are getting addicted to drugs. So regionally also there are seen, unseen forces infuse these disruptive behaviors to the society. The most vulnerable group in these instances when it comes to drugs, crime, the youth, because they will embrace it without any hesitancy, and they are the future of our society. If any unacceptable behavior among them definitely disrupt our future potential as a country. So it is very important to develop a proper guidance, mentorship for these youth, to keep them away from these destructive behaviors, destructive pathways.
To plan for a better future for humanity, a value orientation is essential. It is through experience that human beings react to. In building up moral values among children from the beginning stages, the support from parents with proper guidance has its own significance. We were in conversation with Dr. Surantha Perera, consultant pediatrician and neonatologist of Ministry of Health of Sri Lanka, and the President of the Sri Lanka Medical Association, and the Vice President of the Sri Lanka College of Pediatricians, together with Dr. Mrs. Sumedha Jayaweera, Principal of Sirimavo Bandaranaike Vidyalaya, Colombo 7. Apart from being the Principal of Sirimavo, Dr. Mrs. Jayaweera is also the visiting lecturer at the University of Jayawardenepura, PIM, Ghani American University.